All right, Bamby. So, how did this all come to be?
The TransLatin Coalition, the organization, or my
Both
work,
that
or
and
everything.
WALK4HUMANITY, how you got involved, what makes you so passionate about the work that you do?
It's part of my nature. I think I naturally, I'm a servant to the people, since I remember I always want to help people. So that's part of like who I am. It's part of my DNA. But I do want to say that part of what made all of this happen is my own personal lived experiences and what I have been able to survive and overcome and overturn those horrific experiences into opportunities, not just for me, but for our people.
That's amazing. Since you've been doing this work and you think back to what life was like for you, what are some of the ways that you have seen people walk into this space one way and leave completely changed?
Well, I can tell you some things that that I still see, for instance, right? Like that I experienced when I was young. I mean, I'm still young.
Period.
Right?
Okay.
Like,
I know that's right.
yes, my heart will forever be young.
Yes.
But like I started my transition at 18, going to 19, right? And so back in the 80s, there wasn't any type of support or services or anything for trans people, right? And so it was our community, right, who had each other's back, right? Any type of resources, you would get it from other trans women, for instance, right? And I see that some of those things are some of the same experiences that young trans and gender expansive people are experiencing today, right? So even though there's now resources and organizations like the TransLatin Coalition, for instance, right? Some of the issues are still the same. Our social conditions continue to be the same, right? Like, for instance, in my personal case, I spent about 15 years in and out of the carceral system, right? And that is because we are criminalized as who we are as people, right? And so that's the same thing that is happening to trans people right now, especially because of what's happening federally and our government and everything else, right? Like we are criminalized because of who we are, right? And therefore we're targeted, and therefore we're denied opportunities within our society, right? And so I feel that because I am a privileged trans Latina mujer emigrante, right, that I also have a responsibility to our people, and that's why I do what I do.
I love that you said that, because I think I definitely identify with that as well, as especially when I was asked to be the Grand Marshal. I definitely saw with my place with existing within the LGBTQ plus community, but also understanding my privilege in that in many different ways, as a cisgendered man, but also from being able to have the platform that I have and to have the financial stability that I have. I saw that is not very common for people that exist within our community. And I think what was important to me was to be able to allow my platform to also be a space of amplification, because I think, especially when I grew up in Kansas. So it's like, I knew what it was like, very similar to how you talked earlier about like not having any resources. Like I remember growing up in Kansas City and there was like one gay bar, you know what I mean? And there weren't any organizations or any of that type of resources out there for people like me. So a lot of who I am was built from the lack thereof. And I think once then I moved to bigger cities like a Philadelphia or a New York or a Los Angeles, and I saw that while there were so many resources, one, not everybody was aware of those resources, and everybody didn't always have the means to get to those resources. And I knew for me that it was important for me to be able to reach these different pockets of America. I just moved back to LA and I drove through the country. And so I drove from New York all the way to Los Angeles. And as I was driving through, and I went through like the South Dakotas and the Wyomings and all these different places, and I was like, I don't even think we understand how vastly different it is for Americans depending on where you live. And a lot of times, the way that people view people that are different from them is because they just don't live around them. Yeah. They don't know who they are. And so the only thing that they can take is what is being told to them. And I saw the weight in the amplification through the audience I had built to be able to help people understand human beings at a deeper level. And that is why I said yes when I was asked to come and be the Grand Marshal. And I hope that as we do this walk and people are able to see it and people are able to hear the stories and to see the joy, because I do believe that joy is revolutionary. Yes. I hope that when people see it, people will understand that at the end of the day, the common denominator amongst us all are that we are solely just human beings trying to live the best life that we can on a daily basis. And that should be afforded to every single person walking on this earth, regardless of who you are, how you identify, or where you come from.
For sure.
Yes.
No, and I think, I think it's beautiful that we get to, to organize this, right?
Yeah.
And that we get to participate and that we get to call all people to come together, and it's going to be beautiful and it's going to be amazing. And I feel also that, through this process and through this event, that we are also providing some type of hope.
Absolutely.
To people in general, right?
Yeah.
And I know that things are difficult in different places, right? Because I understand what you're saying in terms of, how things are different in other places, right? Like you mentioned some of like Wyoming or Kansas or like other places, right? But I think, through the way that we can influence the change is obviously influencing a way for people to be able to change their minds and hearts. Yeah. Right? And absolutely. So if we're able to do that, then we're able to move the needle.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, and I know your other gala is a fashion show.
Yes.
And I think it's also amazing to be able to do it in a place like Los Angeles that is so rooted in the arts and arts and culture as a whole. Because I think what is very powerful about that is art is also revolutionary. That is how our stories are told, whether that is through music, whether that is through dance, whether that is through visual art. And I think what's great is that we're going to have this stage, where we can have performances and that people are able to tell their stories in many different ways of medium. I think as we talk about this humanity, I think another common denominator through us all is that we all listen to music. We all watch movies. Yeah. We all watch TV shows. I think I know for a fact, and this is so cliche, but I know so many people that didn't understand the queer experience, then was able to watch a show like Pose, and then was like, oh, wow, I didn't know it was like that. Like people that I didn't even like, that I would have never imagined, So I think that's also this discussion of access, and I always tell people sometimes, the important thing about access is sometimes you just got to meet people where they are. You have to take the story and the journey to them because they may never step onto the pathway. You know what I mean? And I think once we understand that and we live more in that space of finding the intersections of our worlds, I think that is when we will get to a better place of understanding.
For sure. And I'm so grateful that you bring the art piece to it, right? Because it is essential and it has been essential historically through all of our movements, right? And I can tell you that for me, personally, like I didn't even know that I have an artistic ability, right? Until I was encouraged by people who believe in me, right? Like people who have always told me, right? Like, oh, you could do this, right? And so like an example of that, you know, like my book is coming up.
Come on, book.
Next year.
Yes, plug it.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that's right.
Talk
Okay.
about the arts.
Okay, yes, yes, you can buy.
Yes.
Yes.
But in addition to that.
Yes, yes.
But no, I also have a song that I
Oh.
am going to perform.
There you go.
During the Walk for Humanity.
I love that.
So, yeah, so it's a cumbia. You know what a cumbia is?
Yes.
It's a genre. So yeah, so it's a cumbia,
Okay.
and it's called La Cumbia del Movimiento, which means the cumbia of the movement.
Yes.
Which has like a double connotation type of thing. So it's about our movement, but also like movement.
I know that's right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we need a little bit of movement.
Yes, yes. So it's part of the joy that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's part of, you know, it's an artistic way for us to really, you know, just express ourselves and like live in the moments. So yeah. So, anyways, a book and a song.
Period.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Bamby.
Thank
I'm
you, Les.
excited, and we will see you all at the Walk for Humanity.
Yes. See you then.